Mike McDaniel has had this offense cooking through 2 weeks of play. Tua is leading the league in passing with 715 yards. Tyreek is third in receiving with 255 yards, and Raheem Mostert is seventh in rushing with 158 yards. As an offense, they've totaled 925 yards, leading the league, and they did so on two good defenses in the Los Angeles Chargers and the Patriots. In these games, McDaniel just stayed a step ahead with his genius play calling and play design. He used motion to gain advantages, he ran the ball effectively, and he used that to set up big play action shots. It started early in week 1 against the Chargers. This play on the first drive, McDaniels uses more of a traditional motion to identify man coverage for Tua, but also empties the middle of the field. With two safeties high and the Mike linebacker now out wide, there is a ton of green grass to target, which he uses a switch release to the field side, which removes Michael Davis, the most inside defender, and then he uses a trail route with his tight end to get all the nearest defenders flowing away from the middle. This makes it so easy for Tua to target Jalen Waddle on his slant, and we know what Waddle can do with space to run. Now later in the drive, near the goal line, McDaniels uses a more unique play design, which again is set up by motion to just make Kendricks think about his gap responsibilities in the run game. They change as the number of blockers change on each side of the formation in the run game. He then sends 3 indicators to Kendricks, Derwin James, and Alohi Gilman that the run is going to the defense's right. You can see it looks like the guard and tight end will lead block for the running back heading right, but the tight end slams on the brakes and reverses field to lead block for this receiver in orbital motion. The center and tackle also quickly peel off their blocks and get to the edge to lead the way. Just a beautiful, creative way for the coach to create leverage on blocks and win to the edge, setting up a touchdown early. This is just the beginning. Now, this is just an awesome way to use Tyreek, and I expect they will use this motion a lot for him this season, because if you are a DB, how terrifying would that be to see the cheetah have a running start before the ball is snapped? You can see Tyreek initially starts as a wingback where J.C. Jackson has outside leverage on him. He then goes in motion and the ball is snapped so quickly that Jackson loses that outside leverage and has to play with his back to the inside. Of course, in fear of Tyreek's speed, he turns to stay on top of what he expects is a wheel route. And as Tyreek has Jackson completely sold downfield, it opens up the deep dig behind Jackson. There's just no way Jackson could have guarded this after he lost outside leverage from the motion and he had to turn and run with his back to the inside. Just an awesome design to get the cheetah open. Play action was another huge tactic McDaniels used to create space for his receivers. Here they send the tight end in motion, bringing Derwin James more into the box and getting him to bite on the run just long enough to create tons of space behind him for an easy shot to Tyreek and a huge gain. Again, you can see an example of the play action creating easy completions for Tua. You can see the entire front 7 with the exception of Khalil Mack thinks this is a stretch run to the right, and there is no one anywhere near 2 receivers for Tua. Easy 15-yard gain. Now another beautiful example of how McDaniels used motion, not across his formation, but just from inside alignment to outside to create some extra space. Let's just imagine if this tight end runs a flat to wheel from his original alignment. Number 9 still trailing the route would likely be a couple yards behind his positioning here. He wouldn't have had his back turned yet and would be able to make a quick tackle on the tight end coming from the backside. But the motion widens number 9 and gets his back turned to the play just in time for the tight end to sneak out and have plenty of running room for a big play. Here McDaniels motions to give a quads look, which defenses usually have a unique way to cover depending on the personnel. but they have to adjust on the fly, and you can see the two cornerbacks look like they don't know who is their responsibility. They pass these routes off because of the motion and not having time to make appropriate man adjustments. Tyreek easily gets over the top of Kendricks for a big play. Okay, this is a bubble screen to Tyreek, but he only has number 30 to block with Kendricks to the inside and a safety over the top of him. So quick jet motion brings in another blocker. It changes the safety's responsibility and leaves Kendricks to try and chase down Tyreek from the inside. Obviously, that did not go well for Kendricks. Here, Tyreek is manned up by the nickel and he gets motioned into a drag route, where he becomes the safety's man, but he has already gained way too much speed for the safety who is trying to adjust on the fly, and it becomes an easy gain for Tua in this offense. On this play, we get jet motion to change the receiver's strength to the right, meaning Kendricks now has to play a bigger role in the pass to the field side, and he just doesn't get the depth he needs to interfere with this big shot to Tyreek. Had they just aligned 3 receivers to the field side, they could have manned this up and Kendricks could have covered the tight end to the flat, while Michael Davis could have carried this post to a safety. But the motion with the defensive play call of match man causes them to pass this off for an easy shot to the cheetah once again. Okay, now this is just the cheetah doing cheetah things. Man, I wish he was still a Chief. I mean, one-on-one, you just can't do much against this guy. Here, this is a simple switch release that every team uses to create space early. But what was so awesome was how McDaniels used motion just a second before the snap to get his guy out early for a head start and easy completion. Okay, now on this one, props to Tua here. This was an awesome throw after pressure, running up into the pocket while Tyreek just did his thing again. Man, what a dime by Tua. So after an amazing week 1 where the Dolphins destroyed the Chargers, they have to prepare for the Patriots. And Bill Belichick got the tape from that Chargers game. As he always does, he made a plan to take away the Dolphins' biggest threat. He was not going to be beat over the top. As you can see here, he aligns 3 guys deep off the jump and forced the Dolphins to win another way. Well, Mike McDaniel was ready to counter just like on this play, where he uses a similar motion look as the week before that opened up deep shots, but this time he has Jalen Waddle run a 5-yard stick to get the ball moving. McDaniel was ready to counter with short yardage attacks. Here again, 3 safeties deep, and McDaniel runs a toss play to the left, but instead of having his tight end block the linebacker, he motions away, bringing the linebacker more into the box and giving this tackle a more advantageous angle to double team up to him. Great way to make sure your best blockers are on their best tacklers. And also, McDaniel just did so well to trust Mostert with a big workload where Mostert did not let him down. Again, the quick motion to simulate a switch release, but they hit Tyreek on a stick to attack the open zone rather than taking a deep shot. Here, the Patriots are in a fire zone, sending 5 rushers with 3 underneath and 3 over the top. And again, we get jet motion into what looks like a wheel route, but Tyreek sits it down at 14 yards for a big and easy completion. The Patriots being unwilling to keep more defenders in underneath zone allowed McDaniel and Tua to keep eating them up with quick shots. Same fire zone look with 3 deep and 3 underneath, only this time McDaniel beats it with play action to keep the linebacker to the single receiver side in the box just long enough for the mid post to hit behind him. McDaniel hit the Chargers with the bubble screen, and now he hits the Patriots with the tunnel screen, motioning Tyreek from the wingback position into a wheel route, widens the nickel and holds him just long enough to allow the offensive line and the tight end to release onto the nickel, linebacker, and safety. Then we get to see Waddle do his thing. Here, McDaniel uses motion, probably making the Patriots linebackers think more than they'd like to, but this is really just Mostert making an amazing play, and McDaniel being smart enough to feed him. This is wide zone right, but Mostert immediately sees the front seven flow to the right, and he uses his 4.3 speed to take this backdoor for a touchdown. On this play, McDaniel motions his running back into the flats, and Tua quickly recognizes the safety has man and doesn't have a chance to get downhill for a quick tackle, so the running back picks up 5. All game, the Dolphins were fine with picking up 5 and keeping the ball moving. Now here is an awesome route and throw from Tua to Berrios. They run a seam and motion Tyreek into a wheel, and this takes the safety out of the play just long enough for this drag to fade to get open and Tua to throw a dart to the open zone. Beautiful play and beautiful execution. Great goal line call here. Dolphins are an empty with 2 receivers in tight splits, giving space to the outside. They motion the tight end outside, which swaps who is the nickel and outside corner's man. Now you can see before the snap, both the nickel and corner had outside alignment because they know that they are the most vulnerable with no help to the sidelines. But this motion just before the snap doesn't give the nickel time to stack Tyreek, and it gives Tyreek the leverage he wants on an easy, quick out for a touchdown. Again, the Patriots are not willing to be beat deep, so they give the Dolphins all kinds of space in the flats, and it makes for an easy 9-yard gain using quick motion into a short wheel. Patriots are tired of giving up the flats, and they follow the motion with the linebacker. No problem. Tua just hits Tyreek with the quick stick in the vacated zone. The Patriots are searching for answers, and now finally, they decide to run a press man look with 2 linebackers taken away in underneath zone, only rushing 3. Well, warning to future opponents, don't run press man on Tyreek or Jalen Waddle without help over the top. Huge game for Jalen Waddle. Okay, quick shout out to this beauty by the Patriots. You can see right as the kicker's head drops, this player out wide gets a running start to perfectly time a blocked kick. This won't work every week as kickers can change their timing on the snap, but it was an awesome way to keep the Patriots in the game. Again, the Dolphins get the same 3 deep fire zone they've seen before, and they attack it the same way with quick motion into a short wheel route completion. Not broke, don't fix it. And this was an example of McDaniel being a great coach. The running game was working. Pats have been scared of the deep ball, so lean into the run and don't force things deep. They've got a 4.3 speed running back who can make big plays with enough chances. Just beautifully blocked by the big men up front. And then no one is catching Mostert. Finally, it's the Dolphins' last drive, and they just need to eat up clock as to not give the Patriots too many more attempts at a scoring drive. They motion their fullback, Alec Ingold, to kick out the linebacker, and Mostert follows right behind for a first down, eating into the game clock. The Dolphins end up getting the win, and overall the first 2 weeks, this offense has looked like one of the best in the game, doing well to pick apart 2 good defenses, and Mike McDaniel has been leading the charge by using play action, being willing to throw it deep or run for just 5, just taking whatever he needs. But most geniusly, using motion to create matchup problems, to create leverage for blocks, to get his athletes a running start on the snap, to create numbers advantages, and to overwhelm defenses with too much to think about. It has been so much fun to watch, and I dread the day the Chiefs see them in the playoffs, because as long as this team stays healthy, I don't see anyone stopping the magic in Miami.